Have you ever felt tired of waiting? You prayed, you worked, you hoped, but nothing seemed to change. You waited for a job, but the answer was not yet. You waited for healing, but the pain stayed. You waited for peace, but life kept bringing storms. Waiting is hard, because in waiting, we feel powerless. We cannot control the time. We cannot see what is happening behind the scenes. And then, doubt comes. Maybe God forgot me. Maybe nothing good will ever happen. Maybe I should just give up. But here's the truth. God is working, even when you cannot see it. The process is not wasted. The waiting is not empty. Don't rush the process. Growth takes time. Trust takes time. Miracles take time. This story will remind you, your waiting has a purpose. Your delay is not denial. And what God is preparing is worth the wait. Stay with me until the end, and you will discover why patience is not weakness, but strength. Chapter 1. The Struggle of Waiting. Waiting feels like a battle. It is not a battle outside, but inside your heart. Every day you wake up and wonder, when will my time come? Think about a seed in the ground. At first, nothing is visible. The soil looks the same every day. If you only look at the surface, you may think, nothing is happening. But under the ground, life is growing. Roots are forming. The seed is preparing to break through. In the same way, when you wait, something invisible is happening. Your character is growing. Your faith is being tested. Your heart is learning to trust. But let's be honest, we hate waiting. We want quick answers. We live in a world of fast food, fast internet, fast solutions. We think waiting means losing. So we try to rush. We try to push open doors before the right time. And when things don't move, frustration comes. Even in the Bible, many struggled with waiting. Abraham waited years for his promised son. Joseph waited in prison before he became a leader. David waited to be king after being anointed. Their waiting was long, painful, and full of questions. But through waiting, they grew into the people God needed them to be. Impatience can kill what patience would grow. Maybe right now, you are in the waiting room of life. You see others moving forward while you are stuck in the same place. It hurts. It feels unfair. But don't forget the seed in the soil. Just because you cannot see the growth does not mean it is not there. The silence of today can be the preparation for tomorrow. Waiting is not punishment, it is training. It is the hidden classroom where trust is built. So if you are struggling in the wait, remember, the seed is alive, the process is working, and your story is not finished yet. Chapter 2. Why God Lets Us Wait. When we wait, it is not because God is cruel. It is because waiting shapes us. In the silence, we discover who we are and who He is. Sometimes God delays because our heart is not ready. If the blessing comes too soon, it could crush us. Like giving heavy armor to a child, too much, too early, can destroy instead of protect. Delay is not denial. It is preparation. Waiting teaches humility. We learn we cannot control everything. We stop fighting with time and start trusting the one who made time. Think of Joseph. He dreamed of greatness, but he first lived years in slavery and prison. Why? Because he needed strength, wisdom, and compassion before he could lead a nation. The pit and the prison shaped the man who would later save millions. The waiting room is often the training room. When you feel delayed, don't think you are forgotten. Think you are being prepared. God is building roots before He shows fruit. And the deeper the roots, the stronger the tree. Chapter 3. Stories of Waiting in the Bible. The Bible is full of people who had to wait. Their lives remind us that God's timing is not the same as ours. Abraham waited 25 years for the promise of a son. During that time, he made mistakes, but he also grew in faith. His waiting became the foundation of a nation. Moses waited 40 years in the desert before leading Israel out of Egypt. He was once impatient, but in the wilderness, he learned patience, discipline, and courage. David was anointed king as a teenager, but he waited years, running from Saul, hiding in caves, crying out in psalms. The crown was promised, but not yet given. And in the waiting, David's heart was shaped to be a shepherd king. God's promises are certain, but his clock is different. If you are waiting today, you are not alone. You are in the company of giants of faith. They all had doubts, they all had fears, but they all discovered the same truth. God is never late. Your waiting is not wasted. Your story is not over. And just like them, your waiting can prepare you for something bigger than you imagine. Chapter 4. The Danger of Rushing. When we hate waiting, we try to move faster than God's plan. We think, I can fix this myself. But rushing often brings regret. Think about Abraham. He grew tired of waiting for God's promise. He tried his own solution, and it caused pain for generations. The blessing came, but the shortcut left scars. What you build in impatience, you must maintain in pain. We rush into jobs we are not ready for. We rush into relationships that break our heart. We rush into decisions that cost us peace. Later, we look back and wish we had trusted more, waited longer. The world says, hurry or you will miss your chance. But God says, what I have for you cannot be stolen. If it is from Him, it will come at the right time. A blessing before its time can feel like a burden, so don't let fear push you into rushing. Trust that the door God opens will stay open, and the door He closes is protection. Chapter 5. God works behind the scenes. Waiting feels silent, but silence is not absence. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. Think of a theater. The stage may look quiet, but behind the curtain, workers are preparing. Lights are being set. Props are being moved. The story is getting ready. Behind every silence, there is unseen activity. God often works in the hidden places. You may not see the job offer yet, but He is moving hearts and opening doors. You may not feel healing yet, but He is aligning people, resources, and moments. When Esther became queen, it looked like coincidence. But behind the scenes, God had placed her for such a time as this. The setup was silent, but the purpose was great. God's hand is invisible, but His work is unstoppable. So while you wait, don't assume nothing is happening. Heaven is moving, the author is writing, and the story is closer than you think. Chapter 6. Learning Patience as Faith. Patience is not just waiting, it is waiting with trust. Anyone can wait, but not everyone can wait with hope. When you wait in faith, you say, I don't see it yet, but I believe God is working. That faith changes your heart. It turns waiting from pain into strength. Patience is faith stretched over time. Think of Daniel. He prayed for understanding, but the answer took weeks to arrive. From the first day, God had heard him. But the delay was part of a bigger battle. Daniel kept praying, and his patience became faith in action. When you practice patience, you grow endurance. You learn to stand even when the ground feels shaky. You discover peace in the middle of uncertainty. Waiting is not wasted when it grows your trust. So don't see patience as weakness. See it as courage. Every moment you trust in silence, you are building muscles of faith that nothing can break. Chapter 7. The Reward of Waiting Well. Waiting is not forever. Every season has an end. And when the right time comes, the reward is greater than the struggle. Joseph moved from prison to palace in one day. David moved from caves to the throne in one season. Sarah held her promised son after years of tears. The reward was worth every moment of waiting. God's timing may surprise you, but it will never disappoint you. The reward of waiting is not only the blessing itself, it is also who you become during the wait. You become stronger, wiser, and more ready to handle the gift. When you wait well, you find peace that others cannot understand. You discover joy even without answers. And when the blessing finally arrives, you are ready to use it, not waste it. What you receive after waiting, you will value more deeply. So hold on. The waiting may be long, but the reward is real. And when it comes, you will say, "It was worth it." Chapter 8. Don't rush the process. At the end of the day, the lesson is simple. Waiting is part of God's design. You may not like it, but it is necessary for growth. A seed cannot become a tree in one night. A child cannot become an adult in 1 week. Growth takes time, and time cannot be rushed. If you rush the process, you ruin the product. Think of your own life. The job you are praying for, the healing you are hoping for, the dream you are holding. Each one has its own season. If you try to force it too early, you may miss the beauty it was meant to carry. God's timing is not slow. It is perfect. He sees what you cannot see. He knows what you do not know, and his process always leads to the best outcome. Slow is not failure, it is preparation. So today, choose patience, choose trust. Don't let fear push you to rush. Believe that what is coming is worth the wait. Trust God's timing. We began with a question. Have you ever felt tired of waiting? Now you know waiting is not wasted. It is where faith grows, where character is shaped, where trust is born. The danger of rushing is real, but so is the reward of waiting. Every hero of faith, from Abraham to David, learned patience. And every one of them discovered that God's timing was perfect. The process may be painful, but the promise is powerful. So don't rush the process. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep believing that behind the silence, God is still working. Your waiting is not a punishment. It is a preparation. And when the time is right, the door will open, the answer will come, and you will see why it was worth it. What God prepares in the dark will shine brighter in the light. Friend, trust God's timing. Don't rush. What He has for you will not pass you by, and when it comes, you will know. It was worth every second of the wait.